What's up, guys? Let's take a look at the market here on a Tuesday morning, and it's actually dropping a little bit. I'm also going to show you some smart money top 100 holders or whale purchases on Nansen as well, so you can see what tokens are being moved. So let's take a look at the BTC dominance and ETH BTC pair. Of course, they're going to reverse mirror each other. They're the complete opposite of one another. So you've got your, your 14 RSI here and your 14 EMA, and it is crossing below on the dominance, but that doesn't mean it can't curl back up one more time and give us a lower high. We're not really seeing a lower high just yet to give us a bearish divergence. So we got that, and we've also got a cross up here for ETH Bitcoin. It did hit the 30. Sometimes these come up and they need one more retest of the 30 or just a retest of the 14 EMA there. So, watching this RSI can be very powerful, but most people in this case, actually I'm on the monthly chart. If we go down to something like the 2-day chart on this, we can see that, the entry was at the 30 RSI and it pumped all the way up here. This would have been an exit point and then a re-entry here. And now it's another exit signal because it crossed back below the 14. So, it is hitting some resistance here, and, there was some resistance back here as well in 2021. So that's kind of what's happening right now. It may need to play out longer, some sideways consolidation. But once it can get above this level, you can see there's not much resistance until probably somewhere up here, the 0.045 range. And that would push ETH USDT very high at that point. And we look at the, the normal ETH chart as well here in a second. Just to understand this is the Bitcoin pair. So yeah, that's what we're looking for. We need Bitcoin dominance to drop, obviously, before another big alt run. But the interesting thing about this cycle is that as this went up, if we look at this from like a 3-day standpoint, this was mostly just chopping. There wasn't really much up and down movement except right here when it dropped hard in November of 2024. But I remember there was another pump in, it's kind of right in here, here it is right here. But look how this wasn't much of a move. And neither was this one. So you can imagine once this thing really starts moving down, just how big of an alt season we can have. And people are saying it's never going to happen. I believe it will. We just got to stay patient a little bit longer. So so that's that one. Here's TOTAL2. You do have here on the 2-day chart, you do have a bearish cross right there. So I would suspect that this is probably coming back down to retest this breakout line right here, or close to it. So that's what we would be watching for. It could hold here somewhere, because there is some support from previous, the previous cycle or the previous last year anyway, December 2024. So this could hold kind of right in here at the 1.3 trillion. But, as far as TOTAL2 goes, it's really not all that bullish for alts until it can get back above 1.5 trillion. And that would be pretty much at this line right here. So once this breaks out, you can see that's a very important level. Once TOTAL2 breaks out here, and I believe that it will, that's when you'll really get the alt season. There's been a little mini alt seasons like right here. There's little pumps for it. Here's a bigger pump that we talked about in 2024. And here's that 2023 move right there. So I think we're going to get something more like this. And I've seen some that do like a 40x during, back in this time frame in 2023. There was at least one I saw do a 40x, probably more. So let's move over here to ETH USDT. It's still hitting the resistance level up here. It is bearish currently. Had a nice move initially from May 2025. If you want this this buy sell indicator, there's a 7-day free trial in my description below, by the way. It's called Engineering Robo. Yeah, so ETH, it's just doing a retest of this breakout, so I think it'll be fine. It's just going to take it a little time to play out. For the others chart, which this is the others dominance chart, just showing, this is basically all altcoins excluding the top 10 market cap tokens, which is Bitcoin, ETH, all that. So it's just showing you mostly what the alt market is doing, and it continues to come down. I had marked this support zone. It kind of hit it back here once, but it could enter this support zone as one more time, and this would be a great place to buy more alts for me. That's the way I'm going to be approaching it. So it was way down here in this fear area. Things were just kind of being compressed down into fear, and then it broke out. So what we're looking for, it did head fake here a couple times, but what we're looking for is for it to hold this line and start moving back towards greed, and that's when things will really start moving. I marked this as a possibility. It may not happen till September, October for this bigger pump, but it could happen in August. It's not out of the question for something like that to happen. All right, so let's jump into Nansen. Currently, we have stablecoin exchange flow is on a big downtrend since the lower high that it put in on 24th of July, which was pretty much the top of the Bitcoin move as well, I believe. So what you're looking for here is once this turns back up, you can kind of see it started turning back up here, and that's when some of the alts started moving up. A lot of the alts are just kind of chopping until we can finally have that breakout for TOTAL2, till Bitcoin dominance slows down enough for alts to make another move. So this will have to turn back up, meaning, right now, stablecoins are coming off of exchanges. People are taking them to cold storage. As soon as this turns back up, then that means that people are putting stablecoins back onto the exchange because, of course, they want to buy more tokens. They're seeing that it's risk on again. All right, let's look at let me mention one thing here. There's also a discount for Nansen below, by the way, for, I believe, 10% off. But one thing I wanted to mention is, there's other parts of this that I usually don't touch on that are very useful. Like right here, most profitable addresses. You can quickly find wallets and see what they're buying, what they're selling. The selling part of it is just as important, right? If they're holding a token that you hold and you're seeing them sell, then maybe that could get you a better profit take area and save you a lot of downtrend, having to hold through that downtrend. So currently, let's just look at this profitable trader here. They are considered smart money. They've made 2.5 million since 90 days ago. You can kind of switch between different time frames here. They have a 67% win rate, which is really good. They do a low amount of trades, which is also good. It's not hard to keep up with. And I do have a video, by the way. I'll try to remember to link the video for this. You can set up your own Discord and send alerts to it, or you can just log into Nansen each day and check for yourself. But you can save these wallets by going back here to Overview and hitting, you can do Create Alert, or you can hit Manage Labels and save it to your wish list or watch list over here. Or you can hit Deep Research here, which is pretty cool. Nansen's AI agent will tell you what it sees with this wallet, the high points, the low points. It'll kind of give you some insights on how you can take advantage of this information. And you can do this on any wallet. And I believe you can also use their Telegram. They have a Telegram bot that you can just post a contract address in, and it'll tell you a lot of things about it. I believe this thing is going to alert me when it's ready, once this thing comes through. But we'll see. So this is a high balance wallet. You always want to see that because they've made a lot of money. There's some tags here that says they're a 30-day smart trader. They're one of the top addresses over 30 days for realized profit. CVX top 100 leaderboard, CRV leaderboard, token millionaire. As far as these two tags right here, it just means that they're one of the top 100 holders of these tokens. So if we jump down here and we can see, all their token balances right here, I'm only looking for wallets that are currently doing things like ETH or Sol, because those are the two most important to me right now. But you can look and see what they're holding. You can go to their P&L and see what they've taken realized profits on recently, which would have been things like CRV, CVX, or you can see what they're currently holding. So you go to their unrealized, and you're seeing that they're holding wrapped BTC. So they see value in continuing to hold Bitcoin, but they're also prepared, because they have the wrapped version, they're prepared to flip that over to an altcoin at any point using wrapped BTC. So they did sell some. They hold 67% still. They bought 912K worth. They sold for a profit of 3.9 million, I believe or 3.19. And they had 6 sales. So there's a lot of information you can glean from this. It can really help you. But if we step back over here, what I meant by that was you can choose up to 5 chains here, and it'll change what wallets you can see. So if I change to Let's just see, Avalanche, BNB and Base, and hit save. Now I'm going to get a whole new populated list of wallets. You know, this person on the ETH chain is still going to show up, but now you can see things like win rate, ROI, you know, find a good smart money wallet that you like. And you can even change by time frame. You see somebody that's more long-term focused versus somebody that's more short-term focused. You know, if you want somebody that's just going to trade in and out quickly, then you'd want to look at 7-day. All right, so let's just see individual tokens, you know, what's going on, what people are interested in. Currently, I have Ethereum, Solana, and Base selected. I could also select, like we just did, with maybe Avalanche and what else? Maybe something like Tron. All right, so currently I have the toggle for smart money. I'm just looking at smart money net flows. You can see them over here. It's sorted by the top net flow, you know, all the way down to negative. Currently, a token named SPK is the top net flow over the last 7 days. Of course, this is going to look much different if I move to something like 24 hours. And you can even move down to like 5 minutes if you wanted to. You're not going to get as many tokens. In fact, you don't get any, probably because I have to go to all caps, because that's going to be mostly low caps or like really tiny caps. Although HFT is showing up here. I don't know if that's the same HFT that I'm thinking of. Let me check something, because this may be one you want to look into. It only has one smart money trader in it currently. Oh yeah, it is hash flow. So what I can do is, if something looks good here, you know, you can see this one had an impulse. It came back down. It retested that impulse, probably about 70% retracement. You can copy the, you know, the contract address, go over here to TradingView, paste it in, and look at hash flow, and just see what you think based on your indicators, which if I bring up Engineering Robo here, it's going to tell me that there was, actually that's not the daily chart, this is. So you can see the RSI is rejecting. I would wait until I got a cross up above my 14 EMA there. This does look like a bull flag, so I do believe there will be continuation on this one for HFT. But it had a move that was too quick, right? It got into the overbought range and it needed some cool off period. Yeah, so you know, this may be a good one to look into, HFT hash flow. You know, it did develop some support there, could come down and triple bottom, but you would figure you're pretty close to a bottom here most likely, because this thing's been in a downtrend for a long time. But yeah, sometimes they just need some sideways consolidation first because they had too big of a move that needed to cool off. So that was about a 3x move, yeah. And there's other things you can look at. You know, this is very useful, something that was just added to Nansen not too long ago. And I'm trying to keep this video under 20 minutes, by the way, so we'll end it here in a little bit. You can see that starting on July 10th, the top 100 addresses were accumulating and continue to accumulate as price came down. And what this is the balance. This is basically telling you that the balance on the exchange, whether it's a DEX or a centralized exchange, it means that balance is coming off of that exchange and going to people's wallets. So somebody is buying, somebody is accumulating, and you can even see who it is down here, you know, looking through, seeing who's accumulating. So over, let's see, 9th of July, this would have been a month ago. You can sort by 30 days. And you can see right here, actually Bybit's going to show up in some of it, and Binance, but if you get past those, you'll see the high balance wallets here that were accumulating within the last 30 days. And they accumulated a lot of tokens, 5.9 million right there. You can see how much they sent, how much they received, you know, see if they're buying and selling or if they're just buying. You can also look at, if we go to like smart money, we can see how many smart money wallets are in it. You can see they started accumulating on July 24th, and the number of smart money holders currently is actually 11. I thought it was 1. So it jumped up big time. Well, no, sorry, it was at 10 and then it jumped up to 11 back on July 10th. So smart money seems to be accumulating as well. Here's one that bought 54,000 tokens. You know, might be a wallet that you're interested in watching. Looks like they've had a P&L of over 200K over the last 90 days. That's actually really good. Their win rate's only 28%, but that's fine. It looks like they're holding. You know, they got, if you go into their wallet and look at P&L, they probably have unrealized gains here, I would suspect. Yeah, see how they're holding a bunch of tokens here? They haven't sold any of these, they're just holding. What was that token we were just looking at? Is it HFT? I think that's one they bought. They might be down currently on it. Yeah, they're holding a lot of tokens. Anyway, if you went through here, you could probably find HFT. But yeah, really interesting if you can look into the wallet and see what their tendencies are and that sort of thing, and what they're holding. It might be something that you want to look into. Maybe somebody that you want to trade along with, or counter trade if they're not a good trader. You could counter trade them. So let's see. Let's jump back. Oh, okay. Here's the deep research that it just did for me. So that first wallet we looked at, it looks like it's considering them a yield farmer. Let me just read through some of this for you. It says this wallet exhibits sophisticated DeFi strategies across multiple protocols, including CurveFi, Convex, Aave, behavioral patterns. It actively seeks yield across DeFi protocols, interacting with at least 3 different yield generating platforms. Yeah, it looks like the primary purpose of this wallet is yield generation. So they're either staking or something like that. But here's kind of the highlights. It bolds certain things for you so you can read through it quickly. So if this is not something that you like to do, then maybe this isn't the wallet for you. Maybe it's a different wallet you want to look for. But that deep research really helps you to pinpoint what exactly this wallet in particular likes to do without you having to look through the wallet. So that AI agent can really help you. But let's just look and see if we can find some tokens that are being accumulated over the last 24 hours. Probably not a whole lot because people see price coming down, but some alts are just now hitting their support levels and being accumulated, and some have already made a breakout and they need to consolidate longer before another move. So that's what we would be looking for here. And your top 3 right away, GP continues to show up. By the way, it was there last time we looked at I think our video maybe 4 or 5 days ago, it was there. Tower, here's a really good example. So you've got a token called Tower that is in a pretty nice uptrend, 70% gain over the last 24 hours. This is a base token, by the way. It's on the base network, or the base chain. It's taking a little while for it to pop up here. Okay, so while I'm waiting on the chart to show up here, here's all of the buys that have been taking place over the last 24 hours, you can see. And you can also see that Tower is back in, actually, yeah, it is back in a support range. So back in 2023, this was support, and it actually dipped below that support. So people are seeing, that's a huge volume candle right there. So people are seeing this as a big opportunity to accumulate at a support level. They're seeing it as a huge discount. And what we can do, we can already see the people down here that are buying, but there is something called a candle inspector. And you can click one of these candles, one of these big candles, and see who was buying early. And so the majority of the tokens were bought by this person right here, Skipiek on Farcaster. And it may load their P&L. Yeah, there we go. Not a huge P&L, but their win rate's high, although they've only made 2 trades in the last 7 days. So that's one of the people that have been buying. And then if we look at that other candle, the bigger one, it might show somebody different. This can be very useful. You could have even looked back here with the candle inspector and seen who was buying the very bottom. But here you go, Elite Dex Trader, here's a yield farmer, here's a high balance wallet. They were buying a ton of tokens there. So it's not always about smart money. Smart money would have a little, smart money icon right here. These aren't really considered smart money wallets, but that doesn't mean that they're not good traders. This one here has 66% win rate. That's really good, even though it's a low value wallet, but that's fine. So it looks like they've taken, they got 87% remaining. So they've taken some profits. You can see it immediately right there. And here's a little advanced toggle that'll give you even more information. You can see their profit, their USD received is 1.5K. So there's some profit taking here. Maybe it will dip down one more time, but this may be a token you want to look at because there's a huge volume near a support level and people are seeing value in buying that level. So the volume's up like 18x right now of what it normally is. So a lot of information you can get over here as well. Let's see how much time we got. Okay, we just hit 20 minutes. So I'm probably going to wrap it up here, but there are other things you can do. Like you can click off smart money and you can see what retail are buying. So retail has bought 14 million worth of SUSDE over the last, I don't know much about this token, but over the last 24 hours, there's been a lot of accumulation in this one. I'm assuming it's probably near a support level as well. Oh, sorry, this is a stake token, so I don't know that we could really consider this one in the same way as we would a normal token. But anyway, it looks like somebody has been transferring or buying this token. And you have to look sometimes, if it's a stake token, you have to click into their wallet and see if it's actual movement of the token versus just straight buying it. Oops, I didn't mean to close that. I want to show you one more thing just to wrap it up while I'm waiting on this to load. What was I going to show you over here? Oh, I remember what it was. Okay. I think it's on the token tab. Yeah, here we go. So here's a trending on Nansen chart. Which, this is kind of hard to read up here, but you can see it down here. It's really interesting. So you got your free users, you got pioneer users, and you got professional users. And you can see what the Mindshare is over the last 7 days or the last 24 hours. And you can see what people are most interested in. And maybe these are tokens you want to jump into. So currently, the higher the score, that means the more interest there is in that token for these particular users. Or you can sort it by rank change to see what's trending. So you got a token called Startup that's trending up, even though it has been dipping lately. If I switch back to score and I looked at Morpho, yeah, it's kind of trending up just a little bit maybe. Or maybe we go over here to Mix. Yeah, look at that. That's like a 3x move on that one. So it's possible this one was trending at one point, the Mix one. Maybe it was down here and the rank was starting to trend. SPK was that #1 token earlier, remember? So you want to catch these that are trending on the rank change, I think, first, because once they already have 100 score, probably means they've already made a pretty good move. So, maybe you want to look at things like Valentine, Lizard. Let's see what it's doing. It's already made a pretty good move. And here's one called Tetris, might want to look into. GP, we know, has been showing up a lot. So yeah, you don't ever want to really buy something that's already gone up at 2x within 24 hours usually, unless there's a huge altcoin move where all the tokens are moving all together. But if it's just a few tokens moving, you really want to just find ones that are at a support level or maybe have just gone up 10 or 20% and are just starting to get popular. But this can be very powerful. It's something to look into. I would definitely recommend and encourage everybody to at least try out the free side of Nansen. The link, like I said, is in the description below. And if you do decide at that same link, if you do decide to buy it, that same link will get you 10% off. So just check it out, see if you like it, even if you just use the free side of it. There's some good features in it on the free side as well. So yeah, I'm going to end it there, and we'll do another one of these next week. And maybe I'll do one Thursday this week, a second video, we'll see. But until then, y'all have a good week, and we'll see you then. Thanks.